sooner or later there is going to be a correction. I can't tell you what the basis of that correction will be.
You're watching the Spotlight Network, starring Hollywood's newsman, Logan Crawford.
They now believe a single member.
He works with TV and film legends. And now, Logan's shining the spotlight on the world's top emerging authors and creators.
International were abducted.
This is Spotlight with Logan Crawford, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're analyzing a pivotal moment in modern history with a terrific author by the name of Dan Ostrander, and he has penned a powerful book. It is called George W. Bush and the 2007-08 Financial Crisis. He draws on his 38 years of teaching and personal involvement with 9 presidents, and in the book, he reveals the surprising bipartisan leadership of Presidents Bush and Obama that collaborated to avert a second Great Depression. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing books. The links are below this interview. Daniel, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great honor for me, so I appreciate it.
It's an honor to have you on the show. This is an important chapter in history. The nation was on the brink of a second Great Depression in that era. And if it were not for the quick actions of President Bush, that disaster might have happened. But then comes Obama, and Obama follows suit on the initiatives enacted by President Bush and expands upon them. And that seemed to help the nation considerably. Is that the case? Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. You know, Bush basically laid the footprint and turned his gang of 3, as I call it in the book, loose to deal with TARP. And then Obama followed suit and had the vision to see that Bush was on the right path. And,
exactly.
And then liquidity was the key to solving the problem. And Bush saw that, and Obama picked up on that and get liquidity into the banks so that they could carry out their financial transactions.
And rescued major employers like Chrysler and GM, as I understand.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Definitely. Yeah. It solved a lot of problems. And, you know, the auto industry, the financial industry, the housing industry, you know, so it came in and provided liquidity for all of these. And so anyway, it was a great move on the part of Bush.
Yeah.
And the causes of it, people have a tendency to think it was just the banks. And something that I learned in talking to the Federal Reserve when I was writing is they have what's called lag time. And it takes time from when a law is passed till it gets implemented, and then it has its effect that trickles through the economy. And so one of the things that I point out in the book is that the lag time starts with the financial crisis in 1975 and it takes all the way up to 2007 to percolate, because Congress passed 10 laws, passed 10 laws that actually led to the financial crisis. And I explained them in the book, each law and the slippery slope that it created, and induced the banks to make the kinds of loans that they did. You know, the banks didn't want to make loans to people who couldn't afford to pay them. And there was just one law after another that forced the banks into making it. And actually the banks were rated. If they didn't make loans to people who are marginal, their banks would be rated and they would be accused of discriminating against these people. And so the banks were finally just loosened up their requirements and made all the loans that they could. And then they sold them, packaged them up and sold them. So it was a great deal for them because they package them, they sell them, they get the money, and they move on.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the groundwork was laid under the Clinton administration as I understand it. Wasn't it his presidency that pushed to make lending more fair and
Yes,
to
yeah,
relax the
exactly.
rules, and
Yeah,
therefore more likely for people to lose their homes, go bankrupt, and into foreclosure, which happened in a great large scale in that era, right?
right. And one of the things that I discovered in this whole process was Greenspan. He was a very bright guy, and I don't know if anybody would have done any different with his background and everything. But he kept lowering the interest rates, and when the interest rates got about as low as they could get, he encouraged people to get adjustable rate mortgages so that they would get this low interest rate. And then after that, about 6 months after that, he started raising the interest rates. And so people who got adjustable rate mortgages, their interest rate went up a lot higher and faster than they ever thought it would.
Yeah.
And so then they lost their homes. I was always in favor. I was also in construction and built college apartments, and I always wanted a fixed rate loan because I knew what my payment was going to be.
Exactly. You can afford $1,200 a month, for example, now, but if it goes up to $2,400 a month, you might lose your house. Do you
Right.
see any, I know they've tightened up the lending rules,
Hmm.
but housing today is at record high prices. I mean, a tiny little
Right.
average home is about $1 million.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see a 2008, 2007 correction happening like we had back in that era?
I don't know. It's, you know, uh, I don't want to speculate. I don't, I couldn't tell you whether there was going to be one or not.
Yeah.
There's always cycles in the housing market and in real estate. And so sooner or later, there is going to be a correction. I can't tell you what the basis of that correction will be, but just looking at history and the things, the way the prices and rates go and so forth, there will be a correction. But just
Yeah.
when and how soon, what's going to cause it, who knows? It's just a cumulative compounding effect.
Yeah, exactly. It could even be AI. A lot of people might
Oh,
be
yeah.
displaced for work because they've been replaced by automated systems. I
Right. And
mean,
so that's one of the interesting things, too, about AI. When you look at it, how is, a lot of people entry jobs are going to be eliminated. And so, what are those people going to do for a living? And then also, how many people are going to want to go to college? Because what kind of job they're going to get if AI is taking their job?
exactly. Or do you need college if you can say to ChatGPT, explain to me what the articles of the Constitution are,
Yeah,
and explain
right.
to me like I'm 5 years old. Now go deeper. I mean, you can really self-teach yourself, no doubt, with AI. Let me ask you this. Let's turn the page and go to your other book, which is
Okay.
called Read My Lips, No New Taxes. We remember George Herbert Walker Bush made that vow uh, when he was running for president, running for re-election. Or was it his first term that he made the vow?
He only had one term.
Right, right.
So
But
he did it during his first term. And it really, what inspired me to write the book, and what actually inspired me to write both books, is in studying U.S. history, I find that the American people are historically have been manipulated by the media,
mhm,
and the media plays to their emotions, and they create stereotypes.
yeah,
And so the people really don't understand the reality of what's going on. And this is what happened with Bush and why he sort of lost the election. Because people didn't understand what he was doing, why he was doing it. I had to talk him into doing this book. And I even gave him a lecture in order to get him to do it, with Thomas Jefferson versus him. And Thomas Jefferson was a Republican, as they called it during that time. He's a strict interpretationist of the Constitution. And nowhere in the Constitution does the president have the power to buy land.
mhm,
And being a strict interpretationist, he bought the Louisiana Purchase.
yeah,
So how do you justify that? Because it's the best interest of the country.
exactly.
Okay. How do you justify Bush going against his financial pledge? It's because it was in the best interest of the country. And
Yeah,
he didn't want to do it. He said, no, I'll let historians do that. And I says, no, you can't do that. I said, it's important that the American people understand the complexities of how a decision is made, why you made it so in the future, when another president makes a decision like this, people will ask the right question. Did he gain anything personally? Did he gain anything politically? Why did he make that decision? And so um, Bush was a man of great character, and I got to know him, and I had so much respect for him. And he felt that the office of the presidency was more important than the president. He had so much respect for the office. He would never have lied to get himself reelected. And he felt it was his job to carry out and preserve the dignity of that office.
Yeah, yeah. He was a great vice president under Reagan, which is a tough act to follow.
Oh, it is.
When you follow one of the most popular presidents of all time, who's a great communicator,
Oh, yeah.
it's a tough act. I think that hurt him. He seemed a little elitist to people. He seemed a little out of touch when financial times were tough. I remember he didn't remember what didn't know what a supermarket scanner did because he'd never been in a grocery store.
Well, actually, that was false. I remember reading that article, and they said he didn't know anything about a scanner and everything, and they tried to play like he was out of touch with stuff.
Yeah.
And I talked to him about that, and he said that was bull.
Yeah.
That they took a spin off on it, and I don't remember the details, but I remember that article that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's again another example of the media twisting things to create an image. Oh, I know what it was. It was on Air Force One. He talked about he didn't like some kind of vegetable.
Broccoli.
Broccoli. He didn't like broccoli, and then he made that comment that he didn't like broccoli, and then somehow that got morphed into this whole thing about supermarkets and all this kind of stuff, and he didn't do any shopping.
Yeah.
So that's, so it was just another example of the media manipulating something.
Right. And also, what president does shopping? I don't see, Bill Clinton walking down the aisles of Stop and Shop, picking up stuff for him and Hillary for, a pig roast on Friday night. I mean, you're the president of the United States. You might not drive a car. You might not go to a supermarket by yourself, right?
Well, right. But when he was 16 or 17, he did.
Yeah. Exactly.
And President Carter told me that he hadn't owned a car since, I was good friends with President Carter. I knew him for 35 years. And he told me, he never owned a car since the 70s.
Exactly. Because there's no need to own a car. You're in public service. You're being
Secret Service took him everywhere he needed to go.
Amazing. It's interesting, though, that President George H.W. Bush told you that it was not true. If only presidents of that era knew what President Trump knew, which is to call them out on it, that this is fake news, this is a lie, this is twisted, you're just trying to get viewers, you're just trying to sell newspapers, because a lot of it is fake. It's worse today than it ever was, though.
Oh,
it really
definitely.
is.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's why I felt the need to write both books, because in the financial crisis, people didn't understand how close we came to a 1929 depression. Plus, the government made $403 billion profit off of it.
Yeah.
They paid the $444 billion back from TARP, which included interest and expenses, made $403 billion profit, plus gave $31 billion to people and grants who couldn't afford, who were going to lose their homes.
Yeah.
And so so Bush and Obama came out and did the right thing, and it was a great move, great leadership. And people were trying to blame the banks and all this kind of stuff, and the banks got away with all this. And it was actually Congress who set it up. Plus, also, you find the rating agencies rated everything AAA.
Right.
And so no matter what it was rated AAA. And according to some members of the different rating agencies, if you didn't rate a product AAA, you would get fired or a lot of pressure put upon you, because if we don't rate this AAA, they'll go to our competitors, and our competitors will rate it AAA. So we got to rate this to get them to be happy, so they'll continue to do business with us.
Amazing. Well, you've done great work on these books. Daniel Ostrander has written 2 powerful books that you won't want to miss. One is called George W. Bush and the 2007-08 Financial Crisis. The other is called Read My Lips, No New Taxes. They are both insightful. They will both give you insight into the world of politics and leadership and statesmanship that you didn't know existed until you turn the pages of these wonderful books. Daniel, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate your time, your insight, your wisdom, and these wonderful books that you've put forth to the folks at home. I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time. On
Okay,
Spotlight.
thank you, Logan.